Hi, Amy.
Happy
Last night was Match Me Abroad Season 2, Episode 6. Did
6.
you... 6. Did you like it?
I did. I found it very engaging. I found it entertaining and with very minimal irritation. What did you think?
Yes, also good. Thumbs up on this episode. I was writing a lot of notes, which is always a good sign, I think.
hmm I didn't write as many notes, which I think on the flip side is also a good sign because I was too busy watching. I did have to rewind it a couple times, and I'm not even mad about that.
Good.
It was, yeah, it's so much more genuine and natural than what we've been seeing on 90 Day. It's just been so refreshing, and there's a lot of mostly one person who was just brings my dead heart to life.
I assume you mean Harold.
Who else would I mean? He is just so precious.
He's delightful.
Yeah.
But I know what you mean about this being a breath of fresh air. Compared to 90 Day, this is so unscripted, and maybe it is a little bit, but I feel like it's not. And it's so nice to be able to relax and watch people be themselves and not to feel as if you're being manipulated by
Yes.
fake situations and fake drama.
Yes. And you're getting the true reactions, the true commentary
Feelings?
between the two people, the
Yeah.
communication. It's really beautiful, and I'm using the word "and" a lot. It's just so beautiful to see and to get to experience this from, like, it brings me back to the first couple seasons of 90 Day. What we really loved about it.
Mhm.
I find it just so enjoyable, and I'm very glad that we are covering this and we get to watch it together.
The one show that I'm a little bit sad that we're not covering, but I had no idea that it was even on until you mentioned it to me, and by then we were already 3 or 4 episodes in, is 90 Day Fiancé UK, which is back for a third season, I think it is. Is it third or fourth? Third?
I
Second?
think it's the third.
Yeah. Again, another show where you don't feel like you're being taken for a ride. It feels much more honest. Yeah. Reality shows as they were meant to be.
If you want to do a catch-up episode and start covering that, you let me know.
Well, maybe we should leave it up to our audience. If anybody thinks we should be covering 90 Day UK, let us know. We'll consider it. It's so good. It's so good.
It is so good. Sorry,
Speaking of our audience, I don't have any comments from our listeners this week, so I'm just going to jump right into our 1-2. 1, rate, review, and follow us wherever you listen to the podcast. 2, watch the podcast if you prefer on YouTube at 90 Day Fiancé, honestly. Shall we begin?
yes, please.
Let's go back to Monica, the lovely Monica, who's finally going on her very first date with Bruno, the much anticipated Bruno. Even though she's still keen on Bernardo, who is texting her a lot, this is Bruno's chance to shine. And it sounds like Louisa thinks that Bruno is a better match for Monica because he is more clear and more defined as to what he wants out of life, which I tend to agree with after having watched this episode.
I found this interesting because I wanted to know if she was encouraged to continue to talk to Bernardo while she was preparing to go on her date with Bruno. And then I wondered if she's going to, I think I said this last week, is she going to pigeonhole herself into this relationship with Bernardo so she doesn't give Bruno a real chance? However, I feel like she actually did give him her full attention, and she did give him the opportunity to not woo her, but, for her to learn about him and him for her. And it seemed as though it was a really genuine connection, and I think it was the matchmaker who said that she wanted to match them up because he had great communication and he was mature.
Mm-hmm.
Well, is that not something that she absolutely needs?
She definitely needs that, which is why I agree with Louisa that Bruno is the better match for Monica. We saw Bernardo last week or the week before being very waffleish about his future as insofar as having kids. where at first it seems like he did, and then as soon as she expressed dismay that he does because she doesn't want them, he changes his mind and says, "No, it's not really all that important." That uh, that is problematic for me
Mhm.
because I feel like his first answer was the true one. His second answer was just to appease her. And so this makes me think that Bernardo is an opportunistic dater. And he saw this opportunity to get a little bit closer to Monica through deception, which he may have considered to be very minor. And then he was able to steal the kissing by walking her back to her hotel room. Anyway, Bruno plans this really fun date of rollerblading, followed by the market afterwards.
First of
And
all, I think rollerblading is an awful and excellent first date idea because not everyone knows how to rollerblade.
Mhm.
I myself, what a stupid thing to say. I have had many an injury with rollerblading, despite how much I loved it. So for her to get on those blades without, knee pads, elbow pads, wrist guards specifically, at least she had a helmet. And she had him holding her arm the entire time. And I remember when I
Yeah.
was rollerblading, I kept looking for the next like boulevard of grass. So that's how I could stop. Even though I had like the 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 brakes on the back of my blades. I kept looking for the grass because that was safer. If I'm gonna fall on the grass. She had an absolutely handsome man there holding her the entire time. I thought it was an absolutely beautiful date. I thought it was really fun. And she's obviously very fit and she loves exercising. So I thought that was a really, really good choice for the two of them. And then to go to the market afterwards, you know how I feel about markets. I thought it was so much fun. Although when they first met, she seemed overly excitable, like a puppy, and it almost seemed as though she was going to pee herself. She was so excited.
Mhm.
Just wanted to tell her our favorite phrase to calm
Calm
down.
down.
And I didn't mean it in like you're overreacting, you need to calm down.
Mhm.
At the same time, it's breathe, breathe. I can
Yes.
understand exactly where she was coming from, so I'm not judging her on that front. It was just an observation of how she really could have pulled it together. Though I also think that it played into the enjoyment that they had, if that makes any sense, because
So
she
you
was
think that
so
because she
excited
was
about
so
it.
excitable, that made the date more exciting because she was giving it that energy?
Yeah. So he was also feeding off of that energy as well, though it's almost I keep making these comparisons, but it's when you take a 3-year-old out to the park and they're so excited and then they go home and they crash.
Yeah.
She's gonna
Okay.
sleep well tonight. That's what I'm saying.
I I disagree.
Go
Well,
on.
okay, the things that are good about this date, she immediately starts asking the important questions. She was told by Louisa that she's gotta start a discussion, you really have to get to know somebody, and she's doing that in spades.
Mhm.
Fantastic. She's taking the matchmaker's advice. She goes right into the "Do you want kids?" question, which is fantastic. Great to
Love that
establish
question right off the bat.
establish the commonality right away. He does not waver. He does not waffle. He's clear. I do not want kids. I want a wife. I want a partner. To me, the fact that Monica starts expressing that she likes both men equally very, very early on is not a surprise.
Mhm.
She's already struggling to choose between the two of them. And I'm like, okay, good. Is it not possible for her to do pluses and minuses, a PMI, plus minus interesting facts about each side. She'd start figuring it out for herself because she obviously gets so emotionally wrapped up in people so quickly
Oh
that
god. Yeah, we
she
saw that.
needs help to slow it down, to bring it down to a rational level and to really assess, okay, who's the better partner here? Who's the better option? I think I've already expressed this. I like Bruno. He seems so genuine. As you said, he has great communication skills. Louisa called him mature. He talks openly and honestly with Monica about his life, about his feelings, even for her, which is great. He's very open about his excitement, which is endearing and attractive. But then they get to the kissing.
Well, hey, I
Yeah.
just want to add that he seems very down to earth, very grounded,
Yeah.
whereas she's completely out to lunch with her excitement.
Mhm.
Overwhelmingly excited. Like, had I gone on a date with someone and they were that excited, huge turn off. I think I would have left the date early had she continued with that energy. It would have been very, very exhausting to keep up with. Again, like a 3-year-old, do you think that they're gonna wear themselves out at some point? So I do agree with you on that front. And then with the kissing, and she even said at one point, "I can't kiss him," because I told Louisa that I wouldn't or whatever that was. And then, well, she throws that out the window.
Yeah. Again, I saw it coming. She's so excitable. She's so emotional. Not that that is a
Bad.
failing. It's not a failing. It's a good thing to be so in touch with your emotions. But like I said before, she needs to have a way to reel it back a little bit when she finds herself rollerblading down that hill and put her brakes on and just say, "Okay, let me think about this for a second.
Find
What's
that
going
patch of
on?"
grass.
Yeah, find that patch of grass. Sit down for a bit, catch your breath, and think, who is she connecting with? I feel like Bruno really expresses to Monica very well how he feels about her, how he's attracted to her, which is probably why she leaned in for that kiss, as did he. I didn't feel that same sense with Bernardo. I didn't feel like like I said, when he was kissing her, that it was out of a passionate attraction moment. I felt like it was an opportunity where he's like, "Oh, I can grab and steal a kiss here." And that would be good because then it'll maybe lead to something more. What do you think? Am I reading too much into it?
No, I would agree because I felt like with Bernardo, it was more and then.
Mhm.
And with Bruno, he was happy with what he got. I think he was really surprised that it went that far. And I mean, that far, but like a legit makeout session
Yeah.
as opposed to, just a peck or something of the
Mhm.
like.
Mhm.
And I felt really embarrassed for Monica because it seems as though she has no self-control
Yes.
and she she's just so flighty in the moment and doesn't think about anything else. And I can appreciate that from a certain point of view, but on the other point of view, you're here, you're dating with a matchmaker. You have a purpose to be here. And the purpose is to not make out with every single person that you're with. You're supposed to be creating these connections. And even Louisa told her that she shouldn't be kissing people.
Yeah. I think that that advice was so pertinent to Monica. Yeah, it was exactly the right
Yes.
thing to give her as a rule, as a guideline for her dates. It's unfortunate she's ignoring it because I feel like Monica isn't really capable of making decisions. I feel like just like in what was that movie? The Runaway Bride, where the Julia Roberts plays the role of the woman who's always liking the same eggs as whatever man she's with. So she never makes up her own mind about what she really likes and sticks with that. I feel like
Mhm.
Monica is always at the whim of whoever she's with. So if he expresses a great interest in her, then she's interested in him. And she cannot decide for herself if she's interested in a man just based on her own feelings. It's a total reaction to what she gets from him.
She's one of those classic people who garner their own personality towards those that she's dating. She loses herself
Mhm.
when she dates.
Yeah.
And I think that this is one of the most one of the biggest issues that she has with dating is she doesn't know who she is. She doesn't know who she wants because she's waiting for someone to tell her. And that's why she got the matchmaker. So the matchmaker could tell her what she wants. And instead of learning from the matchmaker, she's falling back into old habits. And
Yes.
then it becomes a disaster.
Oh my gosh, she's so dramatic. Now, this is where she lost me. When she's going on about, "Oh, I don't want to hurt anyone, she's crying, she's so upset, she's calling Bernardo in tears. It's like, Monica, you've had one date with each of these men. You are not in a committed relationship with either one. You are not cheating on anybody. You don't have a commitment to anybody at this point. This is not an exclusive arrangement, but she's so caught up in, oh, I'm going to hurt somebody. This is so terrible. I don't want to cheat on anybody. Again, calm down. You've had one date only. It's okay.
I love that we hate that so much and that now we've used it a couple times with her. Though now at this point it is valid.
Yes.
She drives me nuts. The way that she called him and she's already crying. Could she not just text him and be like, "Hey, I had a date today. It was good." Why did
Yeah.
she have to tell him that he kissed him? Or
Why?
she kissed him? Why?
Why?
Why did she need to tell him anything? Because he knows that they were matched up through a matchmaker. She was gonna go on another date. If
Why?
anything, he would have just asked, "How did it go?" And then if he asked, "Did you kiss him?" She could have played that a number of ways. None of your business. It was a great time. But instead, she calls him bawling and freaking out. "Oh my God, I kissed him." And then the cliffhanger is, "Hello? Are you still there?" She gave him way too much power with
She
that
did.
conversation.
Totally. This is what I mean. She gives the men power by waiting for them to tell her how they're feeling about her, and then she responds accordingly. And in this instance, she's giving everything to Bernardo. She's subjugating herself. Like, I have to tell you what I did wrong today. No, you didn't do anything wrong. You went on a date, and you've
You know
only
what
been
she
on
did
a date
wrong?
with that guy.
The only thing that she did wrong was to put herself in that mental position where she convinces herself that
Yeah.
she has done wrong
Yeah.
because she owes this dedication or this loyalty to someone who she's only met once.
I know. And that is such a juvenile position to be in at the age of, now she's 41, right? At
41.
the age of 41, and to still be thinking that way makes me think she really hasn't benefited from a healthy relationship as a role model to her or in her own life.
Yeah, that's fair. And that also brings us back to what Louisa said when she matched the two of them up.
Mhm.
He communicates very well and he's mature.
Yeah,
So that makes me wonder, is she good enough for him?
that's a great question. Yeah. Maybe, on the other hand, maybe that is exactly the kind of person that she needs, somebody who is stable and confident and mature, who can then anchor her so that she can start to develop those habits as well of
Though
not.
it's not his job
No, but
to
that's what you
emotionally regulate her.
no, but when you're in a relationship, I think you both have to grow and you each teach each other things. So
Mhm.
Bruno could teach Monica to be more calm, to be more relaxed and not so crazy dramatic. And maybe she could teach him how to be more in touch with his feelings, although he really does seem to be very much in touch with his feelings. Maybe something else.
I'm not sure what she could teach him. Though I'm not saying that there isn't anything that she couldn't teach him.
Mhm.
I don't think we know enough about her behind the scenes to know too much. Anyway, I'm just going to summarize by saying I think Bruno was a much better match for her, whether or not she believes it. That's for her to decide.
Yes. Let's read on.
Okay.
Harold and Dolly are continuing their date from last week. They go to
No,
do some
no.
kite flying. What?
Amber. He is on a date with Amber. Dolly is the matchmaker.
Damn it. Harold and Amber continue their date with some kite flying. There we go. They were so cute holding hands in the car.
For the holding hands. The way that he had postured himself to turn towards her in the car to show that he was interested in what she was saying. He's
Mhm, mhm.
learning.
Yeah.
And the way that she responded when he was talking about his experience with flying kites, she was asking questions. She was engaged. It was so adorable. And then for him to ask again, "Do you wanna hold hands?" was so cute, and for her to say his hands are
It's like holding a sponge.
yeah, she said that they were a lot bigger than hers or something, but it was like holding a sponge, but at no point did she say that they were moist. So I thought that was a huge improvement, and they both seem to be on the same level in the car with their interests, even though her emoting is a lot more subdued, especially the way that she spoke to the camera about him. It seemed as though he was really growing on her. And I love the fact, I think I said this last week, how open she is about getting to know him. And yeah, she's not sexually attracted to him, but she knows that that may grow and she's open to that. And, Harold is just being his glorious self. God, I love him. He's so incredible. But I love the way that he was, when I learned about flying kites and even I was interested, even though I didn't write down what he was talking about because I was so interested in what he was talking about. I thought
Mhm.
it was just so beautiful. He seemed very passionate about it, very knowledgeable, and I felt like this was the a great opportunity for him to teach her something. You know, she got to teach him something with the food. Oh, we didn't even talk about the food and Monica. But she got to teach him something, and now gets to teach her something. And I that was beautiful. It seems as though they're on really equal ground. They're each giving each other the opportunity to speak, to ask questions, to learn about each other. It just seems so organic the way that they're getting to know each other, and I really hope that what I'm seeing is what's happening is that it's their connection is really growing.
Absolutely. But organic is a fantastic way to describe it. I felt like even though their conversation may have had some awkward pauses here and there, they're actually learning about each other and they're expressing a real interest in one another. And that for me was especially evident when he says, you know, I need to tell her this deeply personal thing about me, which is that I'm autistic. And when he does tell her that and says, I'm looking for a woman who's patient and caring and loving and all this stuff. And she says, well, I'm patient, so I really fit the bill. And I was just like, wow, that is as clear a declaration of her interest in Harold as I think we're going to get. After that, when she starts talking about how he needs to get the approval of her family and her friends in order for them to progress, basically saying, I need a green light from all these people before I'm going to get closer to you. I thought, again, beautiful, very clear communication that things are going well, that her enthusiasm for getting to know Harold more is along the same lines as his. I don't think it's quite as great as his because we know that Harold is already a very enthusiastic and very interested kind of person when he meets somebody that he likes. But Amber is definitely reflecting back to Harold exactly what I want to hear.
I'm not entirely sure about that.
Hmm.
I felt like that could have been very overwhelming for him
Okay.
because she listed off what was her parents, her friends, her relatives in China, and her ex-boss.
Mhm.
That's a lot of people that he needs to get approval from, and that could be overwhelming for him. It didn't seem as though that's how he took it, and I hope that's how he doesn't proceed with it.
Mhm.
But I can see what you're saying with how that's a great sign that she's giving clear communication about what he needs to do in order to proceed. So it could go either way, you know, emotionally and mentally overwhelming, or this is what you need to do A, B, C, D. And that might be exactly what he needs to navigate the situation.
Yeah. I think it's a really good indicator of how seriously Amber is taking the situation at this point, that she's spelling out to him, these are the steps you have to get through in order to win me. Why would you bother with all that information if you weren't thinking that this was somebody that you'd want to get to know more?
And and I can see it as a way to challenge him.
Mhm.
Like, "Can you do this? Can you succeed?" But I don't think that's how she was portraying it. I think the way that she said it is very factual. You need to win over these people, and we can go from there. So the fact that she even wants him to meet any of these people, I think is incredible because there are a lot of men who you would say that to, they're like, "Nah, too much effort, goodbye." But we've seen the amount of effort that Harold has put in since the very beginning. He continues to learn, he continues to evolve, he continues to impress. And I don't think that this is going to be something that's going to stop him. I think that this is going to be very encouraging for him. And I appreciate the fact that she told him that outright. And it wasn't just a surprise. Oh, by the way, you have to meet my parents. Well, that's a given. I don't understand the ex-boss thing. I think we're gonna learn more about that later. Though it was just, again, so organic with their communication and their evolving intimacy with the holding hands and we've gone from him just posturing towards her to touching her shoulder to holding hands, and now they're flying kites. And I thought the flying kites was just so romantic and almost juvenile, but in a very playful way. And the fact that he knew how to fly a kite, I didn't even know how to fly a kite until about 10 years ago. So watching him, teach her how to do it and her being like, should we try to fly them both at one time? And he's like, no, we don't have enough wind. We're going to have to run with it. The amount of intelligence that comes from that and the awareness of the weather, I loved it so much. And when he was running, he said he wished he had worn his suspenders because his pants were falling down. Oh, Harold, you're so sweet.
Yes.
Would a belt not do the same thing?
You would think.
I don't know. I
Mystery.
maybe they cinch him too much and it makes him feel bulgy. Maybe the suspenders make him feel a lot more free, but also safe. Sorry, I've put way too much thought into this. I
Yes.
love him so much. Anyway, let's continue before I
Let's read on because now we have to go talk about Tony.
and the
Wow.
blindfold test.
And the blindfold test. So Louisa sets up this thing that she calls the blind dating experience. Okay, fine. Tony's not going to get to see his dates and he has to focus on getting to know a woman before he can judge her based on her appearance.
Oh, what a revelation.
Okay, so granted, Tony does have to give up some power in order to do this, which I think is great for him. I think Louisa's taking a step in the right direction by challenging him with this particular experience because he's definitely going to be shoved out of his comfort zone. And she sets him up with 3 different women, Lou, Lila, and Gabrielle, for his dates. Now, I don't know about you, but I was all about the body language in this segment because I thought that it wasn't just the things that he was saying to the women, but the way that he was positioning himself.
Posturing.
Oh my gosh. He sneers a lot. His face, his expression on his face when he would get a response that he didn't like from the women, he was sneering, like, I'm better than you, you're below me kind of face language. And then the posturing was standoffish. He was like leaning back, leaning to the side, like, I don't care. I don't give a crap about you. I'm just going to go
He's
through this stupid thing.
Yeah, he's way too good for this experiment. Though I did appreciate the fact that all of them were blindfolded.
Yes.
So that was great. When we talked about it last week, I wasn't sure how this was going to go. Though I think that it was fantastic that they were all blindfolded because I think, like, what? I don't know. It's not like giving the other person the upper hand with being able to see anything. Everyone's on the same playing field. So I thought that that was very fair.
Yes.
I thought he was disgusting.
Yes.
Especially when he was talking about how if you're not in a relationship, you should be celibate. What in the incel BS is that?
Yeah, I love that the crew followed up that statement of his where he said that Lou, because she was the one who hadn't been in a relationship for 5 years, and yet she had had some sexual encounters at some point, when he was saying, ugh, can't handle that. That's not good. Women shouldn't do that. And then,
Women shouldn't.
yes. And then the crew says to him, well, how long have you been celibate? He declines to answer. So clearly, this man has double effing standards, which means, Tony, would you please do me the honor of getting in the bin? Into the bin, in you go.
He was the worst part of this, if I may say.
You may.
He purports himself to be, not phenomenally good looking, but everything else that he brings to the table, which he has not defined. We don't know what he does. We don't know how much he makes. We don't know how many properties he owns. We don't know any good characteristics about this man. And yet, here he is pulling this shit on these dates, saying these awful things, and he has nothing to back it up with. Sir, who are you?
Pure judgment. I was astonished at the way that he could manage to be so incredibly judgmental and rude, by the way, despite the fact that he's wearing a blindfold and doesn't actually see these women. Because not only did he judge Lou, but he also judged Gabrielle. He said she has a child and she's a DJ and she should not be in that career in order to have a child. She should be doing something else, quite possibly just sitting at home barefoot in the kitchen. Fuck off, Tony. A woman can have whatever fucking career she wants to, despite the fact that she may or may not be a mother. It has nothing to do with anything.
Is her child taken care of? Has her child eaten? Eaten. The one time has her child eaten? Is the child taken care of? Is she leaving the kid at home on their own while she goes off and DJs at night? Probably friggin' not. Like,
Probably not.
what is he projecting onto this woman? Onto any of these women?
Yeah. And the way that he is so holier than thou with each of these women, it's clear he's not going to choose anybody. He says, "Oh, I think this is pretty much a waste of time." Well, you know what, Tony? I do too. I think this is a waste of my time.
I
This
think you are a waste of my time, Tony.
this man is completely unmatchable. In this state, in this current evolution as he is now, he is unmatchable. He will never find somebody who lives up to his extremely wild and unrealistic expectations.
I think he really needs to be humbled.
Yes, he does. I don't think that that's possible at the moment in the way that he currently is because he has such outrageous notions about what women are supposed to do and what roles they're supposed to fulfill for him. Like you said, incel. Smells like an incel, talks like an incel, looks like an incel.
If I may, I
Please
think in a
do.
perfect world,
Hmm.
he would be set up with his most perfect woman, the most beautiful, the most successful, the woman who fits the bill. Let
Okay.
him fall for her. And then she tells him that he's not enough and that he's going to have to grovel. Obviously, everything's going to be her fault. But I think
Obviously.
that that would be the closest thing that you could ever get to giving him a taste of his own medicine.
Mm.
For her to say, "You're not good enough for me." And then he's gonna have to grovel. "Well, you're not good enough for me because uh, your ears are too big."
Well, this is the weird thing. Like, I already think that he doesn't truly believe himself to be deserving of a beautiful woman as he has described to us. I don't think he has that kind of self esteem. And that's
No,
why
he
he's
does
so
not.
incredibly cruel and judgmental of everybody else around him because he believes those things about himself that he is small and insignificant and not worthy.
And that's why he got the hair tattoo.
Yeah. Yeah.
Of all things. That still blows my
I
mind.
know. Me too.
Like,
Anyway,
what an insanely vain thing to do.
the
Insecure thing. Okay, yes, let's
Yeah,
move on.
let's move on because he's not worth our time. Sarah, right. So, did you catch the driver when they're in the scene of Sarah and her mom in the car on the way to meet with Dolly? And the driver gets a close up on his face when Sarah says that all men in Singapore live with their moms. And so this was the problem that she had with Freddie, but yeah, all men do it here. So I guess it's normal. And then the driver's like, "Hmm?
I didn't catch that.
Oh, so my question is, what is up with this? Is it true or not that men live with their moms in Singapore? And why did the driver make that face?
Maybe it's common, but it's not like written in stone that you have to stay with your parents.
Okay,
Or maybe I don't know, maybe it's just a difference in location, like cultural location.
could be.
I don't know.
Anyway,
Geography is not my thing.
it called into question some things for me, like w- was Freddie just covering up for himself? Was the driver actually just reacting to Sarah dismissing Freddie because he lived at home with his parents? But that didn't seem to be the case based on the timing of this. So it was interesting.
Yeah, I don't know because maybe it's different in the crowds that the driver runs in versus what Freddie's doing.
Could be. Yeah.
We
But the
we we
main
don't have
point, I
enough
think,
information to be able to decipher what that means.
no, it was open-ended. The main point, I think, is that Sarah says to her mom, Freddie was lacking in maturity. And this, of course, is code for he hasn't got enough money.
Mhm.
So disappointing. So disappointing. Not in
But
Freddie, in Sarah.
how does she know how much money he has? He's living at home. Maybe he's amassing his own wealth. He's investing. Maybe he has other properties. He's just living at home so that he can put his money elsewhere. We don't know these things, but she's just
No.
assuming.
But I think she probably asked enough questions on their date to figure out, does he like brand names? Does he spend money on these things? Does he think he should treat his girlfriend this way or that way? I'm sure she asked whatever relevant questions she felt were necessary to find out what level of income he has. And she has assessed that it is not sufficient for her.
Fine.
Yeah. So Dolly arranges this lovely meeting with Sarah and her mom in the fruit market and proposes this taste testing of the durian fruit, which is hilarious. I wasn't sure where Dolly was going with this at first, but I thought it might have been an exercise in getting Sarah out of her comfort zone and testing her, using the fruit as a metaphor for the dating, because at first you smell the fruit and you're like, oh, that smells revolting, it's absolutely disgusting, I don't want to have anything to do with that. But then you taste it and you realize, hey, this is okay. And as Sarah was tasting it more, she was like, oh, I really like this. Actually, it's a taste that I've acquired, something we heard last week, and I'm enjoying it more and more. So is this the point that Dolly was trying to make, or is that just too obscure?
Actually, I think that's very poignant. I hadn't noticed that. I think I was more sidetracked by the fact that I had durian in my fridge. My neighbor gave it to me,
Mhm.
and the smell of it deterred me from actually eating it. And then it went moldy in the fridge, and then my roommate got mad. And it's like, well, you didn't eat it. I'm like, well, you didn't eat it either. We were supposed to eat it anyway. So just the smell of it just encapsulated itself in the fridge. Every time you open the fridge, that putrid smell probably didn't help that it was in there. But so I was really curious when she said, we're going to eat this durian fruit. And I mean, it's not the most beautiful fruit. It's not the most beautiful flesh, whatever the inside is called.
Yeah.
It's like the flesh of a peach.
I know,
Delicious.
but it's just a horrible word to use for fruit. That fruit has flesh.
I'm sorry. But
Yes.
anyway, I think that Dolly really has a sense of humor,
Mhm.
but I think we're also getting to learn a little bit more about her approach
Okay.
to this because remember we were questioning, is she
Yes.
listening?
Yeah.
Like where are we getting at? And we saw it with Harold. This seems to be a great match for Harold. And how is it going to work when it comes to Sarah? So I appreciate your outlook with the metaphor. I hadn't thought about that. I think I'm just like talking myself in circles. It's just so poignant that you're right.
I don't
She's
know.
looking for sheer perfection,
Yes.
but she's overlooking everything else that's good about it.
We've seen Dolly a couple of times now try to get out of Sarah a little bit of growth. And one was asking her to tone down the glam. Nope, she got complete resistance to that. I'm not going to do it. The next was dating Freddie, who was not a rich, successful business type guy. And Sarah has basically said, no, not interested. That's not for me. Now we see this meeting where after they eat the fruit, Dolly's asking Sarah many times, and so is her mom, to compromise, to maybe let go of some of the notions that she has about what makes a perfect man for her and to relax those ideas a little bit so that she can actually meet somebody who matches well with her, that she can have a good relationship with. But Sarah is adamant. She stands firm. She tells us this sob story about wanting to get a father figure for a partner, somebody like her dad who provided for the family. She wants the same thing for her life. Okay, fine. But that doesn't mean that you have to define the qualities that you're looking for in a man solely by the amount of income that that person earns. But she won't compromise. She says it over and over again. I will not compromise. Money is important. I want a man who's going to keep me in the lifestyle that I'm used to.
So then where did that lifestyle come from that you're used to it?
Daddy?
And where is he now? But also it's I find it really gross. Because at
Yes.
first when she said, I want someone who's like my father, I was like, oh, that's so sweet. And then, oh no, he was the bread maker and he made sure everyone had everything. I'm like,
He was the bread
it's
maker.
it's not like the actual qualities that you want. You just want someone who's going to take care of you. You want a sugar daddy.
She wants a sugar daddy.
You don't want an actual relationship. You want a sugar daddy. You want to sit there and look pretty and have someone else pay for it.
Yes.
So for her to like begin with this sob story, oh, I want someone who's more like my father, that's what piqued my interest. I'm like, please go on. And then she goes on about this bullshit. Do you have any idea what like real values are? You're so materialistic and you disgust me. Are you friends with Nikki? Because you probably should be.
No.
Please don't mix it.
Well,
Either way, like I just thought that was so disgusting. And for her mom just to sit there. I was like, yeah, well, her mom said nothing.
well, her mom did try to take Dolly's side and to say, yes, you do need to try to open your mind a little bit and relax your criteria that is so rigid and so superficial. But she didn't say that. And
But she
she
didn't say that.
no, I mean, she didn't say to her daughter, your criteria are superficial, but she did ask her to relax, to compromise. And Sarah is just so adamant. She's so entitled to the idea that she deserves a rich guy who's going to pay for everything for her. Like you said, it's disgusting. It's as bad as Tony. The way that Tony had his attitude towards women is as bad as Sarah's attitude towards men. They're both using the opposite sex for something else other than companionship, partnership, love, caring, cooperation. They're using that other person as a vehicle for,
Unity?
yes, unity. Unity candle.
Did you not say that? I don't know if you said it on the podcast or if you just messaged me, but Tony and Sarah.
Tactless Tony and superficial Sarah.
But we all know that Sarah would never ever go for a guy like Tony because
No.
again, we don't know what he does. We don't know how much he makes. We know nothing.
No, she wouldn't go for him.
No,
would not.
she wouldn't. But I think she might be the one to be like, or he sees her and he's like, I want that one. And she's like, Hell's nah.
Yeah. Gross.
Hell's nah.
So
But
that,
I just thought it was so gross. But
it
also,
was.
I can appreciate the fact that her mom hasn't gone on her dates with her
Mhm.
and that this is the first time that we've seen her since they've arrived. So I'm
There's
really
that.
happy to see that her mom isn't intermingling with the whole thing.
Yeah.
I really think that she failed her kid though, because, you know, with her groveling, or her minute groveling, oh, maybe you should. She's like, shut up, mom. Like, how much involvement has her mom actually had in her life? Like, I wonder if she's just been, you know, best friend, not mom, but she's best friend.
This really is the least of our worries with Sarah, I feel, is her relationship with her mom. It's all about how do we get her out of, how does Dolly get her out of the preconditioned and very strict idea that she must only find a partner who has money so she can sit at home and have children and get her nails done and her filler done and her whatever else she gets done.
You know who she needs to talk to?
No.
Anfisa.
Ew. Oh my God, that's going back in time.
Yeah. Go get my red makeup bag. I
Oh.
thought Anfisa was the most superficial, materialistic B. Not B-A, B, period.
Do you mean biatch?
Yes. Didn't want to say it, but yes. And then to find out, you know, George or Georgie or whatever his name was,
Yeah.
he sold her this fairy tale and
Mhm.
failed horribly. Maybe she needs someone like, no, she needs the exact opposite of that.
No.
Sorry. I forgot where I was going with that.
I
like
just don't
mid-sentence.
know how Dolly is going to cope with Sarah. I'm really intrigued as to who she's going to line her up with next. Is she going to give her the successful businessman type or not? Is she going to try to get Sarah to grow and to move out of her shell? Or is that not even remotely possible? And Dolly's going to realize that it's not remotely possible. So
I don't know. Is Louisa the same matchmaker for Tony?
Louisa is the matchmaker for Tony, yes?
So I wonder if Louisa and Dolly need to have a conversation.
Maybe.
Because they're dealing with the same thing. I also wonder, like, at a higher level, because we know that Katerina has spoken with Dolly. She, I think Katerina suggested Dolly for Harold.
Mhm.
So how much do they talk? Are they part of the same agency? How much information do they share?
Yeah.
Is there any possibility of them coming together and sharing the people that they know?
Mhm. Maybe.
I don't know, because a lot of, I mean, all of these are like location specific, which seems really strange. Why do you need someone from this specific country? And it's not a culture, it's not a religion, it's a specific country. So how does that work? Am I
don't know.
looking too far into this?
We're finding out It is being uncovered as we go. So let's just leave it there. We've been talking for a long time. I didn't think
Shoot, yes.
we'd have such a long episode today, but there was a lot to discuss. Very juicy episode. So let's close it down. Before we go, if you're enjoying the 90 Day Fiancé Honestly podcast, please subscribe to or give a show a follow. If you have an additional moment, please rate us and help other 90 Day fans to find the show. Thanks for listening.
Thanks, everyone.
See you next week.